Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and today we have a preview of Starleap. Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of Starleap by Moco Games. Now this is a sponsored video, and this is also a prototype copy in front of me, so all of the rules, components, and things like that are subject to change, but that being said, this is a current Kickstarter, so you can check out the link down below for everything that they have planned and to support the current campaign. Now there will also be a gameplay on the channel, so if you'd like to check that out, be sure to stay tuned and hit that subscribe button because you'll be able to see exactly how Starleap plays with the team on Board Game Co. Now, in Starleap, you are playing as a frog space cadet where you are racing to the finish. All players are going to have 3 different frogs, and you're trying to maneuver with your different movement cards to not only race to the finish first, but to collect as many bug tokens along the way because those are also going to be victory points, and whoever can collect the most between the endgame scoring and your bug tokens is going to be the winner. Now, Starleap is going to be a game for ages 8 and up, but there is a lot of added things that players will really enjoy whether you're playing this with younger ages or just a lighter game group. Now, this is also a game for 2 to 5 players, and we currently have a 4-player game set up in front of us based on the components that you see here, because the number of rows that you have will be determined by the number of players, as well as the different trophies that are placed out, but I only have 2 different characters in front of you for you to be able to see the different things that they do. In Starleap, players are going to have their player dashboard, and that's going to determine the different actions that they're going to be doing throughout the game, and they're going to be doing that with their different movement cards that they will be playing. Now, players are going to have 3 different frog meeples along the board, and once one player gets all 3 of those to the finish line, they will be placed over in the trophies up here, and that's when the game will immediately end. Now, any players that have not yet placed on trophies will also get bumped up, so you will get additional points, but the last 2 players will actually get -3 points, so that's a reason for you not to race with your first 2 frogs and leave one of them behind. Players are also going to be picking up these different bug tokens, which have different values depending on the different asteroids that you land on, so you can see that it is 2, 2, 3, these ones are 4 value, and that's all randomly determined by what spawns at the beginning of the game, so depending on the spots that you were able to land on, that is going to get you additional victory points as well. Now, throughout the game, players are going to take their turns and then pass the active player token to the next player, and play will go around as players are trying to reach those victory trophy areas. Now, you're going to be doing so with your different movement cards, and all of those are going to activate something a bit different. Now, all players are going to have these base 5 cards, and each player is going to be a bit asymmetric with their unique ability card as well. So when you are playing one of these cards, you will move to the next available spot. So for example here, if we want to play our asteroid card to be able to gain this first asteroid for 2 points, we would be able to play that movement card and do so. So that would move the green player here over to the asteroid, and the asteroid ability is gain a bug, so we would be able to gain the bug that is there. Now, future players, when they play an asteroid card, are going to skip over any occupied spots. So the next player to play an asteroid card is also going to gain 2 points by placing their frog meeple here, but the next frog meeple to play an asteroid card is going to be placed over here with a 3 point. Now again, players are trying to get all 3 of their frogs throughout these tracks, so you are going to have some options there with which frogs you are going to choose to advance when, but watching out for these points is going to be extremely important because that could be what sways the game at the end of the day. Now, as I said, players are going to use a movement card, and they're also going to be able to use a boost card if they have any available. I'll go over what a lot of those do, but those are going to be these cards over here, which you are going to be able to draw when you use the star movement. But right now, this player does not have any of those available, so they will use their asteroid, gain a bug, and then pass the first player token. Now, players are going to continue doing this, keeping the other cards in their hand, but they are not able to play these cards again until all cards are out of their hand. So either at the beginning or end of your turn, if you have no cards available, you will then draw back all of your cards, meaning that certain actions are not going to be available to you until you are able to go back and gain that card again, especially if you start with it at the beginning of your fresh hand. Now, to go over what the other cards do, there is the star, which is similar to the asteroid. It will move you to a star space, and you'll be able to draw a star card, which again, I'll go over those after I go through the main actions. But another thing you are able to do is portal, roll the portal die. So that's when you're going to roll this die here, and you're going to move to the portal. So there you have the purple. So you're able to move that player forward to that spot. Now, another one is going to be the rocket, and that one's very similar, where you're able to roll the rocket die. This one would be a 2, and the rocket die is going to be very important because players are also trying to reach these planet areas. Whenever you reach a planet area, that's when you're going to place these upgrades, which, again, I'll go over those in a moment, but landing on these planets is how you're going to be able to place these upgrades, so that's going to be very important, and rockets are going to be one of your only ways to do so. There are other ways, but this is going to be a way that you're going to choose to do so. One of the other ways is that you are able to play one of your cards face down for just one movement, so if that's one way you want to be able to get to a planet, that's another option as well. Now, another card that players have available is Froggy Freeze. This is one that you would not play during your turn, but you would play this when it is not your turn to play and execute one of your main cards. May not be played before the active player plays a card. This is going to be a really fun example where players are going to be able to use these to take advantage of certain things opening up. There's going to be a lot of frogs on the board, and they're going to be hopping all over each other. So this Froggy Freeze is going to be extremely important for you to be able to use to then play another card to get to a spot that you've had your eye on, but you've been waiting for a frog to open up that spot. Now, finally, players do have their special unique abilities, and for example, here we have Spring. Move one of your frogs vertically to the next open space above them. May not use this on planets. So this is kind of a wild that a player is able to use. However, it would not work for planets, but it would give you some flexibility, especially to be able to gain those higher point asteroid cards for these space bugs. So again, once a player has all of their cards played and they don't have any remaining, they would then draw all of them back up and then have all of those options available to them. And the pace of play is going to go on from there, with players taking one card as their action, perhaps using a boost card to boost it, but then passing the active player token. Now, we just went over the starting actions of the game, but one of the cool things is that you're going to be able to upgrade to these translucent sheets. So once you hit those planets, you're going to be able to upgrade for what you choose for your player, and it's going to make all of those different actions stronger and stronger depending on what you choose to activate. So taking a look here for your star cards, you can draw 2 star cards, discard 1, so you get the choice of 2 instead. For the rocket, you may add 1 to your rocket roll results, meaning that when you roll the rocket, you have the choice of adding 1 or not, meaning that that could be a 3 or a 4, which gives you some flexibility. This one may skip over the first open asteroid, meaning that you can find a better asteroid if you want for the bugs. Or for here, you can re-roll the portal die once for each roll, so that gives you additional flexibility here. And finally, you can move 1 to 3 forward when playing a frog paw. So you're going to be able to play the frog feet to move 1 at the beginning of the game, but once you upgrade that ability, you will have the flexibility of 1 to 3, meaning you'll be able to land these planets. Because once you're trying to hit this finish area, it will get trickier and trickier, but the first player to do so is going to snag that first open trophy spot, which is going to be worth 16 points at the end of the game when you score. Now, as you can see, it goes from 16 to 14, 14, 12, all the way down to 4 and 2 at the end, and then -3s. So the points are going to be descending, meaning that first come first serve is going to be extremely important, and again, being left at the end for those negative points is going to be very, very bad. Now, every game in these strips are shuffled, and they're also double-sided, so it provides a huge amount of replayability that you will change these depending on the number of players, that you'll only play with a certain amount, and you'll be able to shuffle them through and set them in all different orders every time that you play. Now, another thing that you're able to do is play with more or less if you'd like to extend the clock a little bit, so you are also able to adjust with these a little bit, especially if you're playing with younger kids and you want to play a shorter game, or if they're really enjoying it so you want to play a longer game to give them more of a challenge. Now to take a look at some of the boost cards that players are going to be able to gain. Reminder, you are able to play one boost card per turn in addition to your movement card that you are able to use to hopefully finagle something clever along the way, as long as you do have them available. So an example would be Taxi Frog. Move one of your frogs 1 to 4 spaces forward. So that's a way that a player would be able to set up something clever, perhaps if you were playing Asteroid after that, to be able to get a 4-point bug token. But another thing players would be able to use for that is perhaps setting them up for a planet to be able to upgrade one of their abilities. Now, another option would be Planet Express. Move one of your frogs to the next open planet. So that's one where you would directly move to the next open planet, working toward that upgrade again to hopefully make your abilities stronger and stronger. Another example would be Scavenger. Return a played main card to your hand. This may not be your unique ability card. So this is one where you would be able to return one of these to your hand to do that action a second time, which can be extremely powerful, perhaps doing that action 2 turns in a row, collecting certain things. But again, it would not be able to be your unique card, but still that's very, very cool. Another option would be Gecko Lector. Play 2 main cards this turn instead of 1. So this is another one where you are setting yourself up for some pretty cool turns and things that you are able to collect with playing those 2 main cards. Hopefully maybe buffing up your star ability, because these boost cards are very, very useful. Now, another example would be Portal Research. Roll the portal die. Move one of your frogs to the next open space, matching the result. If you roll blank, move them 1 to 2 spaces forward. So that's a way that you'd be able to interact with the portal die and use that to start moving your frogs forward as well. So that's an example of what the boost cards are going to be doing and why they are extremely important to work toward through for the game. But again, you're only able to play that once per movement hand phase, unless you do something that lets you gain this card again. So you are going to be limited to how many of these you are able to play as well. Overall, Starleap is going to be a fast-paced game for ages 8 and up, where players are going to be racing through with their different frog cadets, trying to achieve all of those different trophies, because whoever is left behind at the end of the game is going to score those negative points, which can be very, very detrimental. But the main focus of the game is going to be what you are able to do with your different movement cards, what you are choosing to play when, because you are trying to balance out when your actions cycle back through, but it's also going to introduce mechanics like the upgrading and these transparent sheets. So if you have a younger crowd, it is very engaging that it introduces them to a lot of board game mechanics without throwing too much at them, and still stays pretty engaging. Now, if you'd like to see exactly how the game plays, you can check out a gameplay on the channel, so stay tuned for that. And you can check out the Kickstarter link down below for the campaign and everything that they have planned. This has been a preview of Starleap. I've been Professor Meg. Thank you all for watching the Board Game Co channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!